In a political fight after 8 people were burnt alive by a mob at a village in Bengal's Birbhum, Mamta Banerjee will today visit the area. The chief minister has been accused by opposition BJP of presiding over a complete collapse of law and order in the state. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday described the killings as heinous and said those responsible for them should not be forgiven. 8 people, including 3 women and 2 children, were locked in their homes and burnt alive by a mob on Tuesday in what was believed to be retaliation after a local Trinamool Congress leader was killed in a crude bomb attack. Charred bodies were found a day later, mostly belonging to one family. Mamta Banerjee on Wednesday vowed strict actions regardless of political colors and announced that she would visit the village Buktiu where the horrific incident took place. Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge on Wednesday said the centre must give up the idea of privatization of railways and accused the dispensation of not giving due credit to the previous Congress led governments for their contribution to the development of the national transporter. Speaking during a discussion on the working of the Ministry of Railways, the leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha said the government should focus on the ground reality instead of publicity as it will not fill stomachs. And until people are gainfully employed, they will keep fighting. Accusing the centre of not giving due credit to the previous Congress led governments for the initiatives undertaken for the railways, he said, if so much hatred exists in democracy, it will become difficult to sustain. Mr. Kharge said 2.65 lakh posts in the railway are lying vacant, whereas 3.18 lakh people are employed on daily wages and 9.67 lakh posts are regularized. He claimed that a picture of railway running into losses was being projected with an objective to privatize the national transporter. He also asked the government to give up the idea of privatization of Indian railways, arguing that it will lead to a spike in inflation due to increased freight rates. India on Wednesday retaliated that Jammu and Kashmir is an internal matter and said it rejects the uncalled reference to it by the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi during his speech at a function in Pakistan. Matters related to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir are entirely the internal affairs of India. Other countries, including China, have no locus standi to comment. They should note that India refrains from public judgment of their internal issues. Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bakshi told reporters to the queries on Chinese Foreign Minister's speech. Mr. Wang had made a reference to Kashmir in his opening speech at the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in Pakistan. On Kashmir, we have heard again today the calls of many of our Islamic friends, and China shares the same hope, he had said. New Delhi's rejection of Wang Yi's comments came in the midst of hectic consultation between the two sides over a possible visit by him to New Delhi within 2 days. The US is no longer dominating several advanced technologies, an influential American senator in Washington has observed, saying that India, Russia, and China have advantages on hypersonic technology. We are in a situation where we have technological improvements we used to dominate technology. That's no longer the case. Hypersonic, clearly, China, India, and Russia have advantages on it. Senator Jack Reed, chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, said during a nomination hearing on Wednesday. We are about to emerge for the first time in the history of the world in a trilateral nuclear competition, no longer bilateral. The Soviet Union, the United States, no, it's China, Russia, and the United States. Senator Reid said and asked Dr. William LaPlante to be Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment how he intends to address these issues. India, along with 12 other UN Security Council members, abstained on a resolution by Russia on the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. The draft resolution by Russia was co sponsored by Syria, North Korea, and Belarus. It failed to get adopted in the Council on Wednesday as it did not get the required 9 yes votes to pass. Russia and China voted in favor of the resolution while there were no countries voting against. India and the remaining Security Council members abstained. Permanent and veto wielding council members, Russia had called for a vote in the 15-nation Security Council on its draft resolution that demands that civilians, including humanitarian personnel and persons in vulnerable situations, including women and children, are fully protected. Calls for negotiated ceasefire for enabling safe, rapid, voluntary, and unhindered evacuation of civilians and underscores the need for the parties concerned to agree on humanitarian pauses to this end.